Okay, recorder is on, and I am off and running. Okay. Want to start with a disclaimer saying that that trading involves risk of loss of capital, and you should do your own due diligence. And this is for educational purposes only, and we're not. Um, None of the opinions expressed are meant to be construed as financial advice or recommendations for any stock or security. It's just what I'm looking at. Top Gun Trading. We start every day at 9:15 in the morning, and with a market overview, and then start trading um, day trading, stocks, options, futures, ETFs, from about 9:30 to approximately 11:15 to 11:30, and most afternoons. If anybody would like to have a 30-day trial, we have one on for $14. Hey Arnaldo, how are you doing? That's less than 46 cents a day. $14 is less than a dinner for two at McDonald's, and most profitable. All right, a little bit about myself. In case you don't know, I did post out the slides out there, and I am an ex-fighter pilot with master's degrees in computers and in business. I've been an active trader since 1998 and full-time since 2009. I am a technical trader, but I do use limited fundamentals like earnings releases and stuff like that to primarily find stock candidates. But I look at the chart, and that's what I trade off of. I moderate the Top Gun trading room for hit and run candlesticks. Let's see what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start off with the economic calendar. We'll go over the earnings. The earnings are pretty light. We'll probably start getting in the next couple of weeks. We'll get pretty hot and heavy. My favorite time of the year. Market overview. Hi, Mark. Trade ideas, some Q&A that are not stock specific, and time permitting, we'll look at some of your stocks out there. All right, here are the economic reports. I get it off Econoday, and I've highlighted the most important ones here in red with the ovals around them. And I will point out that Wednesday with the FOMC minutes at 2 p.m., that definitely can be market moving. I don't really see much of anything else. Usually, the red is the most influential of the reports. Green is the next level, and black is low to moderate. Some of them, like Treasury Budget Report and NatGas, I don't see those really anymore as market moving events, so that's why I haven't highlighted them. Okay, let's go to the earnings calendar. What's guiding criteria is listed here between 5 and 300. Average daily volume over the last 20 days greater than 400,000 or so, approximately. And an average to range the last 14 days of greater than 25 cents. Basically, I need something that I can trade, not below 5, nor above 300. Average daily volume, 400,000 or more. That's really a swing criteria, but there could be stocks that have that spike up. Day trading, I want to be closer to 1 million. Average to range, I want stocks that move. I don't want ones that just sit around there and stay flat. However, I don't necessarily want to get them, too much, because then there can be a lot of volatility. Like I said, we start off the week pretty slow with CMC on Monday. Nothing for Monday evening or Tuesday before the bell. And we've got these here on Wednesday, Thursday, and one on Friday. And the ones in yellow have, I say, greater than 10%. A couple of these actually have about 7% short interest. That should cause, with a surprise to the upside, that may cause the people who are short to cover. So I look at those with an extra keen eye. Let's go do a market overview. And let me pull that up. And move this over there. Okay, hold on 1 second. All right. Here we go. All right, expand that out. And this is the S&P 500, the E-mini futures. And we did a huge move up and a pullback. Then on Thursday, Friday after the jobs data and what we and I guess the comments from Jerome, we started a big rally, and that looks like a J hook in progress. If we follow true to form, which we don't always do, we could come from this 2350. We went up to about 2500 in 25. I'm going to call it 2500. That's 150 S&P points, and if I add 150 onto 2450, that's about 2600 or so. We'll get up close to this 2625. That's what the measured move would say we might do. What I should have done is covered crude oil first. Let me jump back to that. I'd like to get those out of the way. Crude oil is struggling to climb higher. It's going to have trouble with this area between 50 and a half and 54. Let's see what happens when it gets up there. Unless we have some sort of external catalyst, we're going to maybe grind a little bit higher. And my stochastics RSI that I use here basically is telling us that we're getting a little long in the tooth, and we may go sideways or pull back a little bit. Gold, I have been talking about gold going higher for quite some time here. Let's see, and I think I've got to go out further than a 6 month. Yep, let's go over here. Style, time frame. Let's go to a 2-year chart, and let's go to a weekly. All right. 1300 to 1340 to 1360 is the kind of the target level. Once we got down here, a couple of times we tried to rally off the bottom, but really when we broke 1240 to 1250 is what I've been telling people, that we were going to go to 1300. We did that. At some point, I do believe we get to 1320 to 1360 and retest that. And so far, it's going to plan. Let's go back to a 3 month. Let's move on to the Dow futures. They are also up. Stochastics RSI is curling back up. We did the little J hook. If we also do the measured move, we'll get pretty close to this 24,500. So that would be a target. And what would prove me wrong is if we go down below, say, the 260 area. Nasdaq is also curling up. Now it looks stronger than the other two because we've got 6,500 as kind of this first level of defense here. And resistance, we get above that, we may go up to like 68 or so. Let's look at the Russell. The Russell also looks pretty strong, and we did a little bit of a pullback here, not as deep as the Dow or the S&P. And we do have a ways to go to get up to kind of a resistance level around 1425 to 1450. So let's keep an eye on that. And as long as we can stay above 1350, I'm bullish on the Russell in the near term. As long as we stay above 63, I'm bullish in the near term on the Nasdaq. as long as we don't go much below, say, 23,150 or so, maybe halfway down to a third of the way down on this one candle. And the S&P, she's got to stay, you know, 2480 or something like that. All right, now let's go over, the VIX. Come on. VIX shot up to about 40, 36 something, and we're smoking down to the downside, coming back into a more normal range. Normal over the last 20 years or so has been about 17. The fact is that we had far less volatility than normal over the last couple of years during our rally. It was down into the 12s and 10s and the low teens. So, welcome back to increased volatility. Volatility is both a curse and a blessing for traders. If you use it to your advantage, it could be a blessing. And obviously, if you make a mistake, you can get hammered pretty fast. Spiders, got a lot of markings on here, primarily looking at 1 hour chart. Let's show the 1 hour chart here. That's why we advocate, or at least I advocate, using swing levels as support and resistance, targets and entry points, and they've served us quite well, and I'll continue to do that until it no longer works. I don't think it'll ever stop working. And the Qs, we've got our rally that we saw on Friday. We saw the rally in the Qs. We saw the QLD take off in the morning, and the target was 155. All right, and IWM, it was above, say, this 135 level. There were really no targets on the short-term 1 hour chart. Let's see what we did with the spiders. Yeah, the spiders was 248 and a quarter, with 250 and then 251 as targets, and we've got above both of those. All right, what I'm going to do is I'll go back to a daily. I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to go over to our trade ideas. Now, these are long trade ideas. That doesn't mean that they're set up for Monday or even Tuesday, but they have to meet the criteria. And I did have a typo on the trade ideas. I noticed that I put GES and it should be GPS, not guess. And we'll go over that in just a second. All right. Let's do a look at the week ahead. Whoops. Right. Look. All right. The first on my list was AEM. It's a gold stock, and originally my target level above 39.88 was about 41.50. I think ultimately it goes up here into the mid 40s. We break over 41.50, watch 45. Now, these are swing trades. That's what I'm going to point out, but the daily is what I also used to set up my day trades. I use the daily charts. Next one is glue. Glue above 8 and a quarter, and it's popped up there at least 3 times right now. That one is at all-time highs above that. So, considering how the market has done, glue has done extremely well. It's held up. Now, you can see where it went from $8 or almost 8 and a quarter right down to 7. That's a substantial drop percentage terms, but it still stayed above the 50-period moving average by and large. Keys, KEYS, over the $62 level. We do have a little spurt there, but I'm thinking we go up maybe to the 65s, and ultimately, we're going to go back up here and retest this $70 level. Now, what is ultimate? Ultimate could be a long ways away. Next one is LABU. This is an ETF for the biotechs, long up. I think we're heading to 41.75, and then we have this area of resistance. You might want to keep LABU on your watch list for quite some time, so that when it gets over 48.75, you can go along and maybe hit the 57.50. But in the interim, I think it goes to 41.75, and we've been day trading this one. Eli Lilly, LLY. It was doing quite well, but then we had the sell-off hit heavy in December. The sell-off that started in October, November, people rotated into defensive stocks, and they held up for a while, and then eventually the sell-off caught everybody. If it goes on long enough, the selling will get even the defensive stocks. So most of the time, you have to be very careful that if you're in a defensive stock, watch for the markets to be continuing to weaken, and then eventually the defensive stocks give in as well. And that's what happened there. However, this one is recovering, and over 115.75, I see it going to 118 to 120. PANW is trying to bottom, and bottoming is a process, and you can see how it's warbling around here. Above 192, it gets into a fairly solid uptrend. Now, above the 50, and the short-term moving averages have now moved back above the 50. That tells me that the trend is now starting to be upwards if the market will not necessarily cooperate, but not be too negative and hold it down. So this might be a very good one to trade up to the $200 level that we've got right here. Another long that I'm looking at is PS, a software application company. Above 26, I could see it going to 32 without any real difficulty. Again, these are one of the stocks that needs the market to not punish it. It doesn't need a lot of market help, and again, you can see how it's basically come down here on the bottom and come back up, and then come right back up and do a double bottom test, and then it's now formed a higher high and a higher low, and now it needs to break through 26. Next one I have is Quinn Street, QNST. Above 16.5, it goes up to the $17.5 level. Above that, let's go look at the area chart, which is a weekly chart. You can see longer term, this $17 is all-time highs. So this was one that you should keep on your watch list. Another one I have here is TDC Teradata over 38.50. Again, it got sold off in September, October, went through the bottoming process, 2 or 3 dips lower, but a move over 38.50 is a sign that we're going to go back, I believe, to 40, and maybe ultimately with market help around 42. And the last one on my long list here is Team. It's been up to this $89.75, $90 level twice now. Ultimately, it goes to 97. If we break out here, I'm going to be getting some options, call options on the in the money call options, and looking for a move to 97 to 100. Now let me put in manually ESPR, Esperion. I believe Esperion set itself up, especially on Friday with that huge down volume, for us to go down and retest the lows at 37.70. Now, I'm not going to necessarily short right out of the bat. What I want to do is to see this is consolidate. So it went out of the gate the first hour, went south, then it's consolidated here. I would love to see a bounce back up here to the $42 to $43 level, and then a rollover. Assuming you do that, I can go short looking for a retest of the lows. The next one is Advanced Auto Parts. Probably go and see what it did is a move down lower. Let me get did a move lower here. Whoops. Let's get a different color here. We had a move down and consolidate basically in this area right in here where it had price support, and then it failed and dropped down to about the 150 level, then did a rally, and on Friday we had a huge negative day. If we could get through this area around 157 and a half or so, I definitely see us going back and retesting 150. And the last one is GPS gap. And with this bearish engulf here after the bounce, I see the possibility of going to 2450 or even lower. You can see now the area chart shows that we're in a solid downtrend, and look at what has happened here over the last few months. We'd rally up, fail, rally up, fail, rally up, fail, rally up, fail. Well, I suspect that trend will continue until it doesn't. And in this case, we got pretty close to the 50. It looks like it's trying to fail again. All right, let me see what we've got here. I'm going to do another sales pitch. This is not for me, but this is for the hit and run candlesticks and right way options. They have a 60-day trial, 2-month trial offer. I take advantage of it very quickly because I believe the in about 2 weeks time or less than 2 weeks time, they're going to actually raise their prices substantially. So you may want to get in there and get grandfathered in. And let's see what we got next. All right. I want to take the general questions, ones that are not stock specific. So if there's something you've seen in my charts or something you've seen or heard me say that you have, I know Pablo has a question, and I know that I think, who was it? Kaushlendra asked, using the 17, is it better than a 21 moving average? It is for me. I played around with a number of moving averages, and I only use them to judge the trend. But the 21 day simple and the 17 exponential are very similar to one another. Obviously, the 17 exponential reacts a bit quicker and more responsive. But the 3, 8, and 17 are the moving averages that I use, and I use them to judge trend. Okay, Pablo, I will let me at the end of this. At the end of this, remind me, stick around, Pablo, and I will get a toss set up and share my layout with you. In fact, I think I may already have it. Hold on. Shared items. Okay. Okay. Here is my workspace, Pablo. And you can import that, importing a shared item. If you don't know how to do that, you call tech support, and they should be able to walk you through. And Richie S., do you look into a squeeze? I don't understand the question, Richie S. Could you be a little more specific? Do I look into a squeeze? I guess, are you asking? Okay. Could you type that in again with a little more information, please? I'm a little confused with what you're asking about. Let's see. Arnaldo said, "Could you show how to set up your stochastics RSI in Thinkorswim?" Um, Better than that, why don't I just give you a chart that has it already done there? Let's say 5 minute toss chart. All right, and what it does is I have the, let's go over here, come on here to a 5 minute, and it doesn't matter whether it's a 5, 15, or daily. Oh, good Lord. Now let go and don't do anything. And the stochastics RSI, okay, that's on a 5 minute, that is at a 5 minute. Let's take it to 30-minute chart. And I use a 7733. So on the studies, edit studies, and I want to go right here. I use RSI of 7, 80-20 just to draw the lines. You could take them away. I use Wilder's close, and I use simple. I know that sounds a bit odd because I use exponentials for everything else, but that basically seems to work best for me. And let's see there. So 7733 Wilders, and use the close. How do I? Happy G wants to know, how do you choose stocks for long and short? Well, that is a very good question. However, it is one that is very subjective. I My favorite pattern is a J hook. Let me bring out what the spiders is doing here. Now, what the spiders is doing here, the J hook, is a strong move up, followed by a retracement, a pullback, then followed by a reversal. Let me take it to a 30-minute chart, hourly chart maybe, 2 hour. Okay. So what we're seeing on the daily, definitely. We actually saw it in the 15-minute charts too, but I don't want to go too low with you. But basically, I'm ignoring this trend here. What I'm doing is this right here, if a move up, followed by a retracement. The retracement needs to be 50% or less, and then a move back up. I will buy as close to the bottom as possible when I feel comfortable that we're actually turning back up. My first target is the prior swing high, and that's where I take half off the table, and then I try to trail the remainder. That's basically what I'm looking for, primarily using the J hook. Now, I will use things like bullish engulf, morning star patterns, the like. I have a YouTube channel out there. Let me go to that. Okay, my channel. You can sign up for my YouTube channel. And in it, you will find, under my videos, I have an overview. That's where we post the recordings of all of our trading sessions. and other free events. Now, a lot of other stuff will, with greater detail, will be for members only. But these are pretty good. Here's an overview as to how we day trade and how we set up the charts. Now, finding the longs and finding the shorts. What I want to do is I want to be trading in the direction of the trend. So if the trend is down, I want to be trading to the downside. When the trend is going up, and in the near term this trend is going up, I want to be to the long side. Now, you can see here on team, I also have an EMA chart which has just the 8 and the 17. You can see since the end of November, team went down in October, flat in November, and then started moving back up. And you can see that as reflected by the exponential moving averages to help visualize the trend. I don't need it, but it acts as, I call them training wheels for people who need to know, are they on the right side of the trade? All right. You should not be trying to go long in the downtrend. See what happened when we rallied here on team. We were in a solid downtrend and we rallied, and then it got up to a resistance level and failed. That was a perfect short opportunity, especially when it broke down below this level here. All right. But it's changed character. I like to go in the direction of the trend, and the trend is defined to me as making higher highs. An uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. The downtrend is lower highs and lower lows. That's why I try to trade in the direction. And what I like to do is try to find stocks that in the downtrend are rallying up to a resistance level, and in a bullish trend, or maybe pulling back to a support level and then going up. This one, it kind of failed, but it did a W. And this one is possibly setting up for a J hook on the far right hand side. Let me see which one. And then there's the breakout levels that we're getting. None of them seem to be, not a lot of J hooks set up today or right now, because the market has been down a lot, and we're going to find a lot of rounded bottom breakouts. Rick Sadler has RBBs. If you go look under his YouTube channel for Hidden Run Candlesticks, Rick Sadler, RBB, rounded bottom breakout, he has a video out there that does a great job of describing the rounded bottom breakout. And we're set up for a lot of them right now. Okay. Karen S. asks how I use stochastics in my trading. I basically, Karen, use the stochastics as a confirmation tool. So if I'm, let's see, let's go to spiders for one. When things get up to the top here, and I get a kind of a topping pattern here, this was a possible double top, and I have my stochastics up near the top, and then I get a candle over here that shows some negativity, I go down and then see if it's confirmed by my stochastics RSI. Now, it's an oscillator of an oscillator, and to me, it helps me judge momentum. And I can use that all the way down to a 5-minute chart. Now, SPY is not necessarily the best one there. Let's look at QLD on Friday. And let's move ourselves back a little bit earlier in the day. And you see how we moved up. moved up. We gapped up and moved up. So this right here, even though there was no trading in there, I fill it in, and I consider that to be a candle and a move. And we had a very, I guess, a pretty mild pullback for those who were only long from down here at 66, 65. I'm sorry, and change. That was a pretty deep pullback, but for those before, it wasn't all that deep. And then we had Mr. Powell give us some good words around 10:30 to 11 o'clock, and we took off. And so there, right there, is the J hook that I'm looking for intraday. It works on 5, really on any time frame. Now on a 15-minute chart, a lot of times they don't necessarily appear the same, although you can see how it appeared over here. That J hook worked well, up, back, and up. And you can actually get inverse J hooks where you get move down, move up, and followed by a further move down. And the J hook is my number 1, number 2, and number 3 favorite patterns, both long and short. And TS, I believe I answered the question about time frames. I use the 3, 8, and 17 from the daily all the way down. On the dailies, I tend not, on the below, say the 30-minute chart, I don't tend to use really the 3 exponential much. It's there. It gives me the heads up. We might be able to get we might be getting a change in trend. And Bill B asked, are you using a scan to identify stocks such as tonight? Well, yes, I am using TC2000. And what I did here is I have my J hook scan here. And you can see that a lot of the stocks that were in my list fit the criteria. I was looking for it for the 8 to be above the 20, the 8 exponential above the 34 exponential be above the 50. These are used basically to make sure that it's in an uptrend, both in the short term and longer term. I want to do a pullback. I want it to be going up today or during the day. I wanted decent volume, decent price, and decent average to range. And you can see those are the stocks that are on my list. Now I do have a few that look like they've also are curling up and coming up from the bottom, but they're not on my list because they're either approaching or at resistance levels. CC may or may not pan out. CENX is too close to what I consider resistance level in this kind of box right about in there. I'm looking over here to the left. And Send, it's kind of in no man's land. It is trying to do a J hook. If it gets over this 4360 area or so, it could work, but it's got a lot of congestion over here to the left in the early part of December. So I'm just keeping it on my watch list in case, say, it starts to break out above 48 or so. SGen did a move sideways and then a move up, but it's getting close to the resistance here. I basically said, you know what? I could probably only track between 10 and 15 stocks at a time, maybe 20. And so I have to pick out the best. I will leave these on the list, but I will not focus on them. All right. Okay, there's Bill. And Sarah asked, did I hear you correctly for day use the daily time frame versus short time frame? I either may have misspoken or you heard me incorrectly. I start with the daily. I have to have a good daily chart before I'll day trade it. I will not day trade a crappy daily chart. What happens is if you have, well, let's say SGen here, If it's coming up, I need to be aware of where it's at. Is it coming up to resistance? Is it in a place right here where it has room to run, say from 37 to 41.75, call it 40 to 42, 41 to 42. I've got to have a good daily. Well, this one has got a decent daily. It looks like it's, basically changing its direction. The balance of power, I'm not going to go into a great detail on that, but the balance of power has gone from negative to at least neutral, if not positive. And so it's not, it's saying, yeah, yes, you could possibly go long on those. TDC, that daily tells me watch for a move above 38.50, but to where? Maybe around 40, maybe only 39 and a quarter. All right, so that's what I'm talking about doing, and then I'll drill down. Then I'll either go to a 60, or I'll go to a 30, or go to a 15-minute chart. I do trade off the 3-minute, 5-minute, and 15-minute charts, day trading, but it has to have a good daily chart. Okay. Roger A asks, do I enter shorts on an up day in the market or a down day in the market? Roger, normally it doesn't matter if a stock is moving in its direction. Obviously, if the markets are going lower, that would help you in a short, because approximately, and they use the term of 80% of the stocks go in the direction of the market. It's a high percentage. What percentage that is, I don't know. I don't think anybody has quantified it as far as I know. But the vast majority of the stocks will go in the direction of the overall market. So it would be nice to have the tide or wind at your back. Well, there are times that doesn't work. Like the other day, I think Tesla, when the markets were going down here and it went up and it gapped lower and didn't continue to fall. Let's look at Apple. That's a better example. The market started to turn, but Apple went down. We day traded Apple both to the long side over here and to the short side on the day it went down. So you got to find, the markets were up 2 days ago, but Apple was way down. Why? It had stock specific news. Stock specific news is one of those where that I love to define longs and shorts. And stock specific news that I like in particular, ones that flow to the bottom line of a company, like earnings. So that's why I create the earnings list every week and look ahead for those that are going to report during the week and put them on a watch list, because a large number of the stocks that are going to move, we could tell in advance because they're going to be the earnings stocks. Okay. Pablo says, thanks, Steve, but but the link I found wasn't valid, and I'm not sure what you're talking about. My toss share on ROMB 404 not found. Well, let's go back there. Let's look here under tools. Are you talking which one, the chart, or let's do this one? Okay, now I'll take this, I'll go copy it. I'm going to put it over here in a window. And then what you have to do is you have to have an account open. You have to copy that. What I did is I copied a URL, but what you have to do is go into here under Setup, open shared item, paste the URL in there, do the preview, and this is not a preview picture of what my chart is like. All right. Now, this was a 5 minute chart, but I'm going to go ahead and change it to a 2-day 15. You can see how it really reads in. So if you're talking about the 5 minute, it's working. Now, Richie S, UMP, which I don't know what ZUFWP was. Oh, this one here. Okay, let's copy it. Copy, cancel, set up, open, V, open. Okay. Okay, because it's a workspace, it's going to save as a workspace, and then you'll have to open a workspace here. Okay. So you may or may not want to use my workspace. Okay, Arnaldo said he's got it. Isn't SPY incentive for more of a bearish J possibly? Absolutely, it is. However, let's look at spiders on the daily. The fact that we got over 250 is a big deal. The fact that we bottomed out here, let's look at our EMAs. We haven't gotten out of the woods yet, but we are trying to make headway. Over 250, 375 to 254. We're probably going to change. The 3 will be over the 8, and the 8 will be over the 17 pretty quickly. Now, I'm watching for a potential move to a swing level. The first swing level we were looking at was this 250, the 251. Then we're looking at an area of possible resistance right around there where we are at the moment. And the next one's going to be up here. The markets move in fairly large swings from swing level to swing level. And now if I take that away and I take you to the 2-hour chart, you can see how we broke these levels here. We're probably going to go up to this next level around, if we can get to 253 to 254, maybe 255, we'll probably go up here around 259 or 60. So the whole idea is to just watch the hourly, 2-hour, and 4-hour charts and see where those pockets of resistance, that those shelves, support and resistance levels. We will go from one to the next. We'll be surprised how far they can rally. And we probably have a lot of people who are short or were short the market who are now having to scramble and cover. I'm just seeing this J hook as the possibility that we're going to break through this 254 to 255 level. Those are just the odds. I'm going to be aware of it, that it might fail. But for me, the odds are we're going to continue higher for a little bit. Okay. YouTube channel. Right. The Valerie's correct. I have a continuation pattern. If you go look at the video of the overview, it'll also have the patterns and talk about that. DY says, do you have a volatility stop indicator code for TOS? The answer is yes. No, I don't have it in here. I don't believe. Nope. I'll have to add it. This is, we go to computer. We're probably not gonna have time for your individual stocks tonight. I have to do something at 9 o'clock. Okay, trading. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry about this. I'm just trying to help. Accessories, notepad, file, open. Oh, dirty words. Go to trading. Okay. All right. Here's a volatility stop indicator. Let me see if I can copy that over. And that's not exactly the one I wanted. No, we've already got that. Uh, all right, let's see if we can copy that. Computer, new desktop, trading. I'm almost there. Oh dear. Traders blog, and it should be under volatility stop indicator. Huh. Okay, you'll have to give me a second to look it up, and I'll find it for you, DY. Do I use daily charts for day trades? Yeah, yes, Dad. I think I've explained it that I look for good dailies for setups and then drill down. Yes, QLD is a leverage product. In fact, um, we will use the leverage ETFs to trade as if to trade them overall markets. And you see my perm traders here. I have the spiders and UPRO. That's a leverage positive. SPXU and SPXS. Those are both inverse. Leverage volatility UVXY, LABU and D, the Qs, and QLD and QID. UCO and SCO for both USO and short crude. And you notice that I have Apple and Tesla as my, I'd say permanent traders, that's semi permanent. Those are good intraday options traders. Uh, they have good options, they're very good. Okay. When I see a trade, when and where will you make the trade? I think, no, Randy B, I do like to get in near the bottom. I think I've already explained that. If not, ask again. And Sal C, does a SPY have legs up? I think it does. The odds are there, but we're going to get confirmation very soon in the next dollar or so. Kimberly wants to know when I do simultaneously track the sector or industry while trading a stock to make sure they all agree. I don't make sure they all agree because stocks will tend to move on their own. But I do find actually stocks by looking at a sector or an industry that is hot and then go find others, find the stocks that are in there that are actually making it move. Can I quick quickly run through the MAs on the charts. Well, it's the 3, 8, and 17 exponential, the 50 and 200 simples. If you go and look at the video that I posted above, you'll find it. I just go to show your live account while trading versus simulated account. Yes, I do. Sarah, can you explain what the check marks are on the left side of the screen? I think when you're talking about the check marks, I don't know which screen you're talking about, Sarah. Got me at a disadvantage. I don't remember check marks. I see tick marks on the TC2000. Oh, I know what you mean. You're talking about right in here. That means that it meets those criteria. And this one meets the criteria here of history, volume, the fact that it's an RBB, right bottom breakout, meaning that there's more than 10% from the 50 to the 200. That's just part of the setup that Rick Sadler has. And Rob says you gotta go. I have no idea what the VIX-B is. Sorry. Okay, I am going to go look and find that volatility indicator by Steve, and let me see if I'm going to post that out there. But before you actually copy it, let me copy it in and see if I can actually import it. Do nope. There. Okay. Set up. Open shared item. Let's copy that over. Okay, and then what happens when you copy that in? That ThinkScript will be saved as from blank. Okay, Steve's 1/6/18 on January the 6th. I can rename that and call that all right, and then I can hit OK. I'm going to cancel it because I don't want that to be in there. Okay, now I only, if you look right here, I don't trade the VIX. I monitor it, but I trade UVXY. In fact, a lot of times I don't trade those at all. You can, and I'll actually monitor it to get an idea of what kind of volatility we've got going on, but I don't necessarily trade them. I found that I can do just as well or better by trading the UPRO or SPXS or SPXU or the squid, the QID, or TZA. All right. And one final thing I want to do for you guys out there. Before we go, member page. What I wanted to show you, and I'm pretty proud of this. This is what we've done since the 1st of May of last year. We started first with futures, and then we went because our members said that they wanted to trade stocks, ETFs, and options. I'll just go over those in just a second, Johnny. But as you can see, where the markets are down, we have actually been positive. For the month of December, we were positive by $3,000, $2,400 in November, and $6,000 in October. Now, some people are saying, well, heck, I can do better than that. I said, yes, but here's the deal. I'm trying to show that with a $60,000 to $75,000 retirement account, you can make money. Now, is it enough to live off of? I don't think so. Would an extra $2,000 a month help? Possibly. If you want to make more, you've got to take more risk. I'm only risking $100 to $200 per trade. That's all. If you want more, you're going to have to take more risk. But I'm trying to show people that you don't have to be crazy risk-wise to make money. All right. Now, one of those stickers that has symbols. Well, now I just do this. Whoops. T, originally it was futures, and then it's become primarily stocks. And if you want to see what we're trading, go to my. I normally trade quickly within the first few minutes of the day, but there are videos that record the entire day of trading in the morning. You could watch those, but since the 1st of since the 1st of September, we've been trading. The vast majority have been stocks, ETFs, and options. I have done a couple of futures trades, but only a couple that are added in there. Okay. On the futures account, I had $8,000, but I had $61,000 on the one of my retirement accounts that I was using this. Now how many trades do I make per month? So Richard, I think I've answered your trade. And KG, I don't track the average return per trade. To me, it doesn't matter. What I really is the bottom line. How many trades a week or a month? I may only make about 3 or 4 trades a day. Let me bring up a document. Here's what we did on the 2nd of January. 1 Tesla put trade for $125, 2 QLD trades for $65, and 2 SPXS trades for $114. So there were 5 in one day. Here's what we did on Friday. All right, Top Gun began their new year with some decent trades while risking only $100 or less per trade. Foot Locker 149, UCO, SCO. There was a minus 84. You know, I've got some losers, but SCO for plus 62, Quid for 58, and then members had Baba, OLED, UPRO, and Fortinet. Now that was the fourth. I had a Quid, UCO, SCO, Foot Locker. Yep, that's it. So my goal is to hit the $200 to $300 a day, and average a couple $100 a day times 20 per day. No credit spreads, primarily directional because we're talking about day trades and not swing. Now, I will talk about some swing trades, and again, because I'm talking about good dailies, people who want to swing and maybe a shorter term time frame or whatever, you can look over the shoulder and you could be swing trading those as well. I think that the markets are not very conducive. It's not very healthy to have longer term swing trades right now. Maybe the market will change. For the last month or so, it's actually been swings to the downside would have worked, maybe with options. Or if you could short them, you could swing. But with a retirement account, I can't do that. Right. I'm Bill. I agree. We have too many short-term reversals. So when the market does what we're doing here, I am going to shorten my time frame. I'm going to take my profits quicker. I'm going to set targets that are lower, and I'm going to trade smaller size. No, yes, I trade options sometimes, but usually only with the large, only to go short and with stocks that are beyond, say, $100, 65 to $100. And I would say it's the FINRA and SEC rules about pattern day trader and 25,000. My and there's there's a broker rule about clearing. Because I don't use all of my capital in one day and don't swing to overnights and whatever. I have never run into a problem where I've had trouble with Thinkorswim. I've heard of other people who are actively trading during the day that even in a retirement account, they have been, their brokers have kept them from trading because they were trading too frequently, and it's something to the effect that you're using their capital as for free, and they don't want to do that. So you'll have to check with your own broker. So ask them. Said if I have a $25,000 or $50,000 account and I traded X number of times, that, and you have to give them the value. Have them walk you through it. A lot of it, it's not necessarily the number of trades. See, if you only used under the amount of money, sometimes the brokers will make the trade clear before they let you use it again. Those are the brokers you need to stay away from. Mine don't. Said at the end of the day, if I'm flat, I'm flat. I didn't really use any. Okay. All right. No other questions. I am going to. Yes, it was recorded, and I will be putting that out on my on the YouTube channel as soon as it renders. It'll probably be an hour or so. Are all of those taken in the trading room or some end of the day setups? Well, I tend not to use end of day setups or anything like that, but Tanvir, I will only post the trades there that I've actually taken, and all the trades that I take are posted. So, you know, that is what it is. Um, I've had losing weeks. I've not had a losing month yet so far, knock on wood, but that's because I try to be conservative. I know it sounds crazy to say you're a day trader and you're conservative, but I am. I may sometimes I'll only trade once or twice a day. Hence, like if you get out here, there was two trades there. If you click into the column, I was traveling on these 2 days here. Um, there I had three trades. There I had four trades. Friday I had four trades. I had two on that day, four on that day, only two on that day, only two on that day. I'm trying to find one where I had only. There's one I only had one day, one trade. I quit after 87 because I didn't see any good setups. I sit and wait for a good setup. Now there was 778. I don't know that I. These actually are okay. Now this one I was up nicely and then I had a big loser. Um, One of the things you need to be aware of. I think I've lost it. Oh well. Don't overtrade. Oh yeah, I know what it is again. You have to have small commissions to be able to trade. You cannot be using full service broker fees of $7 and $8 in and out. $15 round trip is going to kill you. You're going to have to get a reasonable cost. If you can't get a reasonable cost, you're probably not going to be able to do this. Walt, tell me about it. That's one of the problems I have. Is I am a pretty impatient trader. When I make mistakes, they're usually from being impatient. In fact, I can show you an example of one just the other day. That I have rules. Follow the rules. You violate the rules is where you're going to get in trouble. MGM. Okay, MGM gapped up and then pulled back. Let's go to I use a 5 minute opening range. And this 5 minute opening range would have kept me out. That's what I try to use, a 3 or 5 minute opening range. If it doesn't break the highs in here, this is not necessarily one to go long on. What I did is I let it pull down and let it pull back up. And instead of, I didn't totally violate my rules. What I did is I saw that it moved here and I thought, you know what, a lot of these times they will go back up and retest the high. And I was playing from around 25 to break here to move back up. It moved up quickly and right back down, and it got me out for basically a scratch, a small loss. Maybe it was down to here. Um, but normally you want to see these things follow through and go to new highs. So I didn't necessarily violate my rules. I tried to I tried to play the move back up to the retest high, but looking back on it, what this was a bear flag. That right there, followed by that, and it moved down. It just went sideways basically. So it didn't work. Okay. Toss commissions high. I use toss and I get $3 in and out. Interactive brokers. Is my room separate from Rick Sadler's? If you there, it's a separate charge. Yes. Right now it's only $97. I can guarantee you that that price is going to rise here fairly soon. 97 bucks a month. But that's basically in one day. You can see from the commissions, sorry, the profits that we got there. It only takes me a day to cover a monthly. This is the only one in the last 3 weeks. What am I talking about? The last 2 months and a bit. The only one where I didn't cover the entire cost of a month in one day. So most of the time we cover the cost of doing business in just one day. Do I use Trade Hawk? No. TOS and Interactive Brokers. Yes. In fact, we're having a members e-learning on Wednesday the 16th. And let's look here. Let's go here, Top Gun. All right, this is the members room. I'll show you. There's Trade of the Week and members e-learning. Go here. And the last one that we have posted here was November the 15th. I was out in December, but we had the overview and had an open house during December that we basically did that. And I will have one of these at least a month, okay? And we go over, and while we're in there, if people have questions, they post them in the room, and I'll go over them when we have time. No, I don't have an alert service because the day trading is so fast and so furious. By the time it would get out, I probably am already in and out of the trade by the time you would see it. I think what you might want to do is, if you're looking for that, is RWO, Right Way Options, has a really good one at that. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, those are. If you're talking T, you're talking about trade stocks. Yes, primarily stocks and ETFs. A lot of ETFs, because that's what. Again, I trade whatever the market is giving me. If the market's giving me lemons, I've got to make lemonade. So I know that sounds like a cliche, but is it, we were between earnings plays. I did the Tesla trade, I did the Foot Locker trade, but because we're not in earnings season, we're only coming into it, but we were between earnings seasons, there weren't a lot of really good individual setups, but there were really good individual setups on the ETFs. So I trade what's going to make me money. Correct. But again, I'm not swinging them. I'm only day trading. I already know what the earnings release would be. So, in fact, things like Apple or Foot Locker or Tesla, I mean, wasn't it the Tesla day that they said that they missed their deliveries on their cars in December? And that's why I traded it. It's a news event that basically is an earnings related event. Okay. Kimberly, I establish the opening range. Go look at the video. I think you will probably have that. And it will describe the opening range, how I use it. All right, any other questions? Aim small, miss small, right? Don't miss it all. All right, I need to go. It's after 9:20. I've missed my departure by 20 minutes. All right, you guys take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you around the flagpole. Please, seriously consider $14 is not a whole lot for 1 month. Take a look at it. See if you like it. If you don't like it, you've missed out less than a steak dinner at Outback. All right, and it doesn't even include a tip and a drink. All right, you take care. Aloha.